What's the worst thing your parents ever said to you? Not the usual yelling, not the casual, "I'm disappointed," not even, "I wish you were more like your brother." I mean, the kind of sentence that cuts deeper than a belt ever could, the kind that stays in your bones long after childhood ends. For Isaac, it came at 12 years old. A spilled Sprite, a long, tense road trip, and a father with a temper that wore a mask of discipline. They pulled into a gas station somewhere off the highway in the middle of nowhere. The sun was setting, the pavement was still warm. Isaac stepped out of the back seat with a candy bar he hadn't paid for, and then, the sentence, his father didn't raise his voice. He didn't lay a hand on him. He just said, "You want to act like a grown man? Fine. Find your own way home." Then he got in the car and drove away. No second thoughts, no goodbyes. Just fading taillights and a boy who never cried. That was the night Isaac stopped believing that family meant protection. That was the night he learned being forgotten hurts worse than being hit. The sun was starting to set, washing the sky in soft orange and bruised purple, the kind of sky that makes you think everything is calm, but not for Isaac. He stood frozen in the middle of a dusty gas station parking lot, just 12 years old, skinny arms, scuffed sneakers. A melted candy bar clenched in one sweaty hand. And nothing else. No phone, no wallet, no one. His parents' SUV revved once, just enough to make him think they might be joking. He smiled, unsure, took a hesitant step forward. "Dad," he called. No response. The car backed out of the spot. His mother stared straight ahead. His older brother Caleb was already back on his phone in the passenger seat. The engine roared. The SUV pulled away. Tail lights disappeared down the road like a pair of dying stars. Isaac ran for a few steps, calling their names, but his voice cracked in the dry air and got swallowed by the sound of tires on asphalt. That was the moment it hit him. They weren't coming back. A man from the gas station leaned against the doorway with a cigarette and said, "Ain't a daycare kid." Isaac didn't answer. He couldn't. His feet wouldn't move. His brain was trying to catch up. 12 years old. And already learning what abandonment felt like, not from strangers, but from the two people who were supposed to love him the most. That night didn't feel real. The pavement behind the gas station was cracked and smelled like old motor oil. Isaac found a corner behind the dumpster where the shadows swallowed him whole. He sat with his knees tucked to his chest, arms wrapped tight. The candy bar had melted completely in his pocket. He didn't cry. Not because he wasn't scared, but because something inside him had already gone numb. He kept hearing the same sentence over and over. "You want to act grown? Find your own way home." The words looped like a curse. Every passing truck made his body jump. Not from fear of strangers, but from hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, his parents had turned around. They hadn't. The clerk inside shut the lights at midnight. No one came to check on the boy sitting out back. Around 2 a.m., a truck parked nearby with a loud hiss. The driver opened the door, glanced at Isaac, and kept walking, like he wasn't even there. The only words spoken to him all night were from earlier, a man in a greasy apron, cigarette hanging from his mouth. "Ain't a daycare kid." No blanket, no warmth. Just a cracked sidewalk, a sky full of stars, and a boy learning that even in a world full of people, he could still be invisible. The next morning, Isaac stood in front of his house. His legs were sore. His shirt stuck to his back with sweat and dried fear. His shoes, torn at the soles, had walked him further than his family ever did. He hesitated at the door. Would they be angry? Would they pretend it never happened? He twisted the knob. It wasn't locked. Inside the house smelled like reheated coffee and yesterday's arguments. The TV was on. Caleb was sprawled on the couch with a game controller in hand. Isaac stepped in, slowly, quietly. His mother looked up from her laptop for half a second and said, "Took you long enough?" No gasp, no tears, no running over to ask if he was okay. Just that. Caleb didn't even turn around. He muttered, should have walked faster. Isaac stood there, sunburnt, cracked lips, eyes hollow, and realized something terrifying. They weren't sorry, not even a little. No one asked where he had been. No one wondered how he made it back. There was no apology, no awkward hug. "No, we shouldn't have left you." Just silence. A long, cold, deliberate silence. The kind of silence that doesn't forget, but refuses to remember. For the next few days, Isaac moved through the house like a rumor. Quiet, careful, unseen. He didn't cry. He didn't ask why. He just faded. The dinner table had 3 voices, none of them his. The living room had 2 people laughing at Caleb's jokes. No one asked Isaac anything. He was there, but not really. That was how he learned a new kind of survival. Not to be safe, but to be invisible. High school wasn't cruel. It was colder than that. It was indifferent. Isaac didn't get shoved into lockers or mocked in the cafeteria. He just didn't exist. He ate lunch alone. Same corner, same silence. Every day. Teachers forgot to take attendance. Classmates forgot he was there. No birthday wishes, no yearbook signatures. Not even a nickname. Just a name on the roster barely whispered. After school, he worked. Late shifts at diners. Mopped floors, washed dishes, restocked shelves. Then he went home. Home to a house that still wouldn't look him in the eye. He studied alone. Applied to college by himself, and on his 18th birthday, he packed his bag, left no note, and disappeared. No one stopped him. No one called. No one asked. It was almost like they had been waiting for it. It came on a Tuesday, a thick, cream-colored envelope with gold trim. No return address. But the handwriting, looped dramatic, was unmistakably their mother's. Inside, a wedding invitation. Elegant. Embossed, expensive, and the name on the top corner? Caleb, his brother, the golden child, the perfect one. Isaac hadn't heard his name in years, not in conversation, not in any accidental mention. But there he was, getting married, and they wanted Isaac to witness it. Tucked into the envelope was a folded note, handwritten. "Isaac, we know things have been distant between us, but Caleb is getting married, and it would mean a lot to the family if you came. Please consider it. Love, Mom and Dad." That was it. No apology, no mention of the past, no acknowledgement of the gas station. Just gold ink and good manners. Like they hadn't left a 12-year-old to rot beside a dumpster. Like he was just another cousin from out of town. Isaac stared at the paper. His hands started to tremble. Not from anger, from disbelief. It would mean a lot to the family. After all this time, now they remembered he existed? Isaac read the note again, slower this time. No apology, no explanation, no "we were wrong", no "we regret what happened", just a polished invitation, and a single chilling request. Come play the part. Not son, not family, just the younger brother. A placeholder, a prop, someone who would smile in the photos, clap at the speeches, say nothing when the toast begins. Forgive by forgetting. Pretend nothing ever happened, as if the past could be repackaged in gold foil and white roses. Isaac sat back in his chair. There it was. Not an olive branch, but a script. And they expected him to read his lines perfectly, like he'd never slept behind a gas station, like he'd never been erased. Isaac didn't throw the invitation away. He didn't tear it up. He didn't even curse. He just sat, staring at the gold lettering, at the clean folds, at the lie dressed up in formal wear. The rage didn't explode. It settled, deep, cold, focused. He folded the note back with precision, slipped it into the envelope like it was evidence. "I'll go," he said quietly to no one. Then firmer, "I will show up. But not for them. Not for Caleb. Not for the parents who left him in the dark. He would go because sometimes presence speaks louder than forgiveness." And showing up, without warning, without permission, was the most deafening thing he could do. He wasn't going to celebrate. He was going to confront. Not with fists, not with shouting, but with silence sharpened like glass, and a story they had spent years pretending never happened. Isaac didn't RSVP. He didn't click the QR code, didn't scan the registry, didn't write back. Instead, he planned, quietly, precisely, like he was infiltrating an enemy's camp. He booked a room at the guest hotel listed on the wedding website under a different name. No trace, no alert. Then came the suit, midnight blue, tailored to perfection, with a silk vest that shimmered under low light sharp enough to slice through memory. Not flashy, not loud, just exact. And inside a velvet-lined pocket, he placed the most important thing, a photo, faded, worn at the edges, taken the morning after his parents left him at that gas station. In it, a 12-year-old boy stands next to a dumpster, shoulders slumped, eyes hollow. That picture wasn't just a memory, it was evidence of who he used to be and what they had tried so hard to erase. Isaac arrived just as the sun was dipping behind the vineyard hills. Fairy lights sparkled across the outdoor terrace. Laughter floated through the air, casual, confident, controlled. Everyone looked beautiful. Everyone looked like they belonged. Isaac stayed in the shadows. Sunglasses on, jacket folded over one arm, no name tag, no one approached, and that was perfect. He didn't want to be seen, not yet. But then Caleb turned. Across the crowd, their eyes locked. For a split second, time froze. Caleb's smile faltered. His body stiffened. A flicker of panic, gone in half a breath, but Isaac saw it. The unspoken words in his brother's eyes. What is he doing here? Caleb raised his glass in a weak, distracted toast, then quickly turned away. Isaac didn't move. He just watched. They didn't know he was on the speech list. No one did. Not the parents, not the planner, not even Emily. And that was the plan. Sometimes the sharpest knife is the one they never see coming. The ballroom glowed. Chandeliers dripped light like glass rain. Tables shimmered with gold cutlery, candlelight, and carefully folded napkins. Champagne glasses clinked. People laughed. The polished kind of laugh, rehearsed, practiced, perfect. The father of the bride had just finished speaking. Caleb's best man had everyone in stitches. Compliments floated like rose petals. Everything was scripted, controlled, beautiful. Then the MC stepped forward. He glanced down at the card in his hand, cleared his throat, smiled wide. And now, a pause, a special toast from Isaac. The room froze. Utensils stopped clinking. Conversations cut short mid-sentence. Caleb's face turned the color of dry paper. Emily blinked confused. And from the back of the room, a man in a midnight blue suit rose, calm, composed, cold as the lass. He walked slowly, deliberately toward the microphone. Not a single sound, not a cheer, not even a cough. Only the tap of his shoes on marble and the kind of silence that usually comes right before something breaks. Isaac reached the microphone. He didn't clear his throat. He didn't smile. He just stood there holding something in his hand. The ballroom waited. The silence wasn't polite anymore. It was heavy, tense. Then, slowly, he raised the photograph. A small, wrinkled photo, warped edges, water stains, age spots. But clear enough to see a 12-year-old boy curled beside a trash can, face hollow, knees hugged to chest, a gas station in the background, and nobody else. Isaac spoke, voice even and cold. This was me, the night my parents drove away and left me because I spilled a soda on the seat. A murmur rippled. Forks dropped. Someone gasped. They didn't lose a son, Isaac continued. They buried one. Isaac held the photo up a second longer. His voice didn't shake. He didn't cry. Just one more sentence, calm, controlled, and sharper than any toast they'd heard all night. So here's my gift. This photo. A reminder of what family looks like when it turns its back on you. He placed the photo gently on the wedding cake table, walked off without waiting for applause. But no one clapped. No one breathed. Caleb was frozen. Emily slowly turned toward her fiancé like she was seeing him for the very first time and didn't like what she saw. That night, Isaac thought it was over. But at 1:47 a.m., his hotel phone rang. It was her, Emily. Her voice was hushed like she was hiding in a bathroom. "Did they really leave you?" Isaac didn't answer right away, because the silence on her end already sounded like she knew. She whispered again, "They told me you were troubled, that you ran away once." A pause. "They lied, didn't they?" Isaac exhaled. "Yeah, they did." By morning, Emily had checked out of her bridal suite. She moved back to her mother's house. The wedding was canceled. Caleb never even got to read his vows. A week after the wedding that never was, Isaac sat down and wrote, not for revenge, not for sympathy, just truth. He titled it Left Behind and submitted it to an online journal. 48 hours later, it had 2.4 million views. By day 3, it was everywhere, reposted, translated, narrated on YouTube, even printed in a newspaper in Brazil. Comments poured in. "This is my story too. I thought I was the only one. They didn't bury you, Isaac. They planted you." Isaac read every word, and for the first time in years, he didn't feel invisible anymore. The phone rang. "Dad." Isaac let it ring twice before answering. No hello, just yelling. "You've humiliated this family. You destroyed your brother's life. You think you're some kind of victim?" Isaac waited. Calm, steady. "No," he said. "I think I stopped letting myself be erased from the family photo." Silence. Then click. They hung up. Not a single "we're sorry," not even a "why." Just control. Just rage. But this time, Isaac didn't shrink. The wedding was officially called off. Emily never returned Caleb's calls. The venue canceled. The cake untouched. The dress never worn. Caleb took personal leave from work. Some said stress. Others said shame. Meanwhile, something strange happened. Cousins, aunts, uncles, they started whispering, then texting, then asking, why didn't we know about Isaac? Why was he never at holidays? What else have they been hiding? The perfect family photo cracked. Not from hate, but from truth. The photo of Isaac at 12, shivering beside a dumpster, now sat on a screen behind him. TEDx lights, 1,000 silent eyes. "They didn't forget me," Isaac began. "They erased me." And now the erased was the speaker. His book hit shelves 3 months later, Ghost Son, a story not just of pain, but survival. Bookstores couldn't keep it in stock. Emails poured in, from teachers, foster kids, adults still carrying childhood scars. But one letter, handwritten, made Isaac sit down. The envelope said, "Mrs. Valencia." Inside, "You survived, but more than that, you're alive, and you're lighting a path for others." Isaac smiled. Not for revenge, for truth, for those still waiting to be seen. The house was quiet, just the ticking of an old clock. Isaac sat at his desk alone. The same photo, a 12-year-old boy hunched beside a dumpster, lay in front of him. His fingers brushed the edge. For years, it had been proof of pain, of betrayal, of abandonment. Now it was something else, a closed chapter. Isaac opened a drawer, slid the photo in, not to forget, but to say, "I lived through it. I wrote it, and now I've ended it." He closed the drawer, and for the first time in his life, he felt whole. Not perfect, not healed, but free. Fade to black. Just because someone gave you life doesn't mean they gave you love. Family isn't who shares your blood, it's who shows up. Pain from childhood doesn't just vanish, but you can choose to stop carrying it. Isaac didn't seek revenge, he sought recognition, and in doing so, he reclaimed his voice. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to exist loudly, even if they tried to erase you. If you've ever felt like Isaac, unseen, uninvited, unwanted, you're not alone. This channel is a space for stories like yours, so hit subscribe, not for the algorithm, but for the reminder that your story matters. And who knows, the next video might help you find your voice too.